Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, House of Representatives Chief Whip Al-Hassan Ado Dogara toes the path of Speaker. Al-Hassan Doguwa toes the path of Speaker Dogara dismisses allegation of budget padding by Abdul Mumin Jibrin as frivolous. Also, Nigerian Guild of Editors Conference ends with a call for a radical development of agriculture by federal and state governments. And gunmen killed 11 soldiers during raids on gun runners' hideouts in Boso local government area of Niger State. And freak floods killed 20 people in Macedonia's capital Skopje following heavy rainstorm. We begin tonight with more revelations on the budget padding allegations. It's now a week since the former chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation, Abdul Mumin Jibrin, told Channel Television how members of the House allegedly padded the 2016 budget. Jibrin had alleged that 4 principal officers of the House, including the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, were involved in padding the budget today. Honorable Jibrin's allegations are getting replies from the Chief Whip of the House, Al-Hassan Ado Doguwa. In an exclusive interview with Channel Television, he says what the lawmakers did on the budget cannot be referred to as a crime.
2016 budget padded.
Padded?
Yeah.
That's a strange word to me, and indeed a strange word to every legislator in the National Assembly. So when you expect a legislator to work on a bill, certainly he has the constitutional right, he has the supreme right to deal with that bill. At any level, he can do that, whether at the level of first hearing, first reading, second reading, general debate, and also committing it to the level of the committees. And at whatever level a legislator engages a budget, which is a bit like I said, he is doing nothing but his legitimate responsibility. It is a crime for you guys to be calling legislators as padders. It's speculation.
There are petitions.
Baseless speculations.
There are petitions.
The petitions, those petitions too are frivolous and they're baseless.
The former chairman of the Appropriations Committee.
Please, can you put it in the right perspective?
Jibrin,
don't call him former. If you are calling him former chairman of the Appropriation Committee, it's like you are injecting some courtesy in it. This was someone that was that blatantly removed.
He was a former. You can't take it away.
Please call him removed chairman. Somebody that was gotten out of his office
but that man,
of non-performance.
That man was resigned. The Speaker even said it, that he came to him.
It is not on our records. You could not have. You can't resign on the pages of papers or on the screen. And he was removed on the basis of incompetence. He was removed on the basis of taking for granted members of his committee. There were a lot of allegations of a complete exclusiveness of members of his committee, because we found in him like a cancer in the system, not only in the budgetary system, but a cancer in the legislative system of the Nigerian National Assembly. And we collectively decided to cleanse him, and we have gotten that out of the system. And I want to tell you, Nigerians should now expect a perfect budget come 2017. It doesn't matter what Abdul Mumin was to me, but I want to look at him as what he is to me now. And for me, he's an enemy, not only enemy to myself, an enemy to the institution, an enemy to the system of democracy in Nigeria, and is an enemy to our own great party, the APC.
Meanwhile, a call for a practical approach to agriculture development is the high point of this year's All Nigeria Editors Conference, which has ended in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Against the backdrop of the dwindling global oil prices, this formed the focus of deliberations at the 4-day event, which brought together some sitting and former governors, successful farmers and senior editors. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ire reports.
Available data from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics and other sources indicates that Nigeria has 84 million hectares of fertile land. 32 million is currently cultivated, with most of it on subsistence level, leaving 52 million hectares untapped. Though agriculture accounts for 2/3 of the nation's employment, experts say the country is still lagging behind in achieving food sufficiency. And how to achieve the potential in agriculture in Nigeria, especially in the face of dwindling crude oil prices, is the focus of this conference of the Guild of Editors in Port Harcourt, River State.
Every Nigerian seems to know the problem. with low development of agriculture, which exists mostly at subsistence levels. Thus, the challenge is that of attracting critical investment into large-scale commercial agriculture to create employment, grow the economy, provide food security, and increase export revenue.
One challenge we have today, which I believe that the media can help us set an agenda to deal with, is that of our people accepting that farming or agriculture is a means of economic success.
The managing director of one of the largest cassava farms in the country believes agriculture must become a business to succeed.
We need to start celebrating our farmers, so we need to start repackaging the agriculture sector as a business.
Niger State's representative at the event says some state governments are already investing heavily in agriculture.
Federal government has also taken agriculture as a top priority, the green alternative. But more importantly, many of the states in the country are keying in.
But what other lessons have been learnt?
Why we are doing this is for us to show and demonstrate to Nigerians, especially the youths, that there is hope and there is life in farming.
The conference ends on a hopeful note that the federal and state governments must invest in large-scale commercial agriculture and empower farmers in order to grow the economy significantly in the coming months. Emmanuel Irei, Channels Television News.
Joining me now is Channels Television's data and information analyst Babajide Ogunsonwo to discuss this whole budget padding scandal. Thanks for joining us on the news at 10. You've been following this story. Is it possible for leaders in the National Assembly to pad the budget?
I think the first challenge we have today in Nigeria is the definition of padding. And once we can solve that challenge of how do we even define padding, then we'll be able to ask and answer the question if leaders can pad the budget. As of today, padding has 3 synonyms.
It does.
What are these synonyms? The first is insertion, the second is mutation, and the third is mutilation. So how do we even define padding? Some even believe that from the get-go, even before the leaders started the query on has the budget been padded, indeed, by design, the budget had been padded, and this is how it had been padded. Looking at 2013 and 2014, the proposal for special constituency projects was 100 billion naira. In 2016, it had been shaved by 40 billion. So the 2016 budget for proposed special projects is only 60 billion naira. Now, you may think that a 60 billion naira constituency project as compared to 100 billion is a significant hit on the National Assembly, but that is not the case. Especially if you look at what the Minister of National Planning said just 2 weeks ago. He says, year to date, all the value-added tax that has been collected from all 170 million Nigerians is only 52 billion naira, on one hand. On the second hand, only 469 reps intend to appropriate 60 billion naira. Here's what it means. It means all of the money that 170 million Nigerians have paid as value-added tax will be spent by 469 National Assembly members.
The way you paint it, I mean, it's enough to infuriate a lot of Nigerians. I can imagine those who are listening now and are listening to all these figures and they're saying what's really going on. But the Speaker says there is no padding. Abdul Mumin says yes, there was padding. It all depends on who's looking at it, on which side you're on. How can we check budget padding, or given the 3 definitions that you've just given, how can we check insertion and mutilation and others?
There's one easy way out of all these problems we find ourselves, and that is making the budget totally open from get-go. So the budget has to be a more publicly available document from when the proposal comes from the executive to when the legislators send it back. So we need to clearly create an open window for Nigerians to clearly see what is happening in our budgeting system. We also even need to pay more attention to how we even monitor the impact of the monies that have been appropriated. So at the moment, a lot of energy goes into the discussion on we're just making money and we are appropriating it. Who is really providing feedback about the impact of these appropriated funds on the lives of Nigerians? That is the challenge we have today. Because nobody is providing sufficient oversight function on the funds that have been appropriated. Are they being well utilized? We've taken our eyes off that ball and we focused more on the ball of how much are we earning and how quickly can we spend this money.
And we're not keeping our eye also on the impacts that this would have on the implementation of the 2016 budget.
Well, clearly, this will most likely slow down the 2016 budgets. At the moment, already, out of the 1.8 trillion naira that was budgeted in the 2016 budget for capital expenditure, we've spent just approximately 250 billion naira. Now, with this padding controversy, there will be more reviews about releasing funds. So most likely Nigerians will complain more because the executives will want to review and ensure that this budget is not only pad-free, it is corruption-free.
That's a new word in our vocabulary, padded, pad-free. But with all the controversies surrounding the 2016 budget, I mean, in just a few months we'll be entering 2017 and we'll have to go through this all over again. How can we avoid making the same mistakes and repeating this episode?
And we're going to see a lot of bickering in the days ahead. When the House sits back again in September, 45 days after, the government is already talking about sending in the medium-term expenditure framework to them, which is the basis of the 2017 budget. So clearly, from the legislators, what we'll expect is they will also challenge even the 290 naira to the dollar exchange rate, when as at today, based on the CBN's official rate, is 311. So the House clearly will be saying to the executives that even their forecast for the exchange rate has been padded. The executive will also be looking at the funds that will be appropriated or misappropriated by the House. So the days ahead look dangerous, the days ahead look difficult.
Wow. Babajide, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the News at 10. I hope our leaders are listening. We turn to security now. Gunmen have killed at least 11 military personnel during a raid on the hideout of gun runners in Boso local government area of Niger State. Spokesperson for the Nigerian Army, Colonel Sani Usman, who confirmed the killing, told Channels Television that the officers include 9 Army troops and 2 Air Force men. He adds that the troops also killed 8 suspected bandits and arrested 57 others during the encounter. Colonel Umar explained that the gunfight ensued when troops of the 31 Artillery Brigade and a Nigerian Air Force detachment conducted a combined raid on the hideout of the notorious criminals. He says the operation was conducted following intelligence reports on the activities of some gun runners and armed bandits in Kopa, Dagma and Gagao villages. According to the statement, the suspected gun runners and armed bandits also burnt down 4 operational vehicles and vandalized 2 others. Bandits also carted away 4 AK-47 rifles and 1 Fabrique Nationale rifle belonging to the deceased soldiers. While the Nigerian Army has reiterated its determination to liberate all areas occupied by militants in the northeast region. Theater Commander of Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Lucky Rabo, said this in Damasak, a boundary town in Mabo local government area of Borno State. He also called for more collaboration between security operatives.
Here are troops of the 145 Battalion of the Nigerian Army in Mobar local government area of Borno State. They are receiving the theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Lucky Rabo. The commander is here to commend the soldiers for the successful clearance of the previously occupied territories and also motivate them for more attacks on militant hideouts.
So, as the Niger troops leave, they will continue operation on their own side of the border. We will continue ours. Our colleagues in 7th Brigade, a whole lot has happened. Where is left is only Abadam and Malampatori. We are going there. I said we are going there. Yes, sir. They are already the troops in Kangaroo. They are warming up, if not for the rain, they would have been in Malampatori.
In part two, after the break, Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, announces the immediate closure of a Papa Bridge in Lagos for repairs. Good night.